balance. How can we create balance in our lives? I mean, if you think about it, work-life balance, energetic balance, everything's about balance these days. And there's a reason for that. We're all out of balance. The world is out of balance. So how do we get back into some sort of equalized state? That is the theme that we're going to chat about today. So hello, merry meet everyone. I'm Witch Hazel. Please excuse the background, lighting, etc. I usually hate when people start a video with apologies, but as you can tell, I'm in a new space and there are stories to be had in that. So stay tuned and I will have more videos upcoming to explain why this is a good transition, even though current lighting schemes maybe not so much. All right, but let's get back to our idea of balance. On this channel, you know I like to talk about intuition and finding your divine connection. So my main theme is usually finding the balance between your divine self and the mundane self. And this time of year, springtime, is the perfect time to start thinking about all of this, if you haven't already. Because what do we have coming up now? We have the spring equinox. So let's talk about the equinoxes and how they are going to help us find our balance in many different ways. All right, so spring equinox, what is it? Twice a year, there comes a point in the rotation of the earth around the sun where our seasons line up so that day and night are equal. Equinox, equal night. Makes sense, right? So, on the one hand, you have the spring equinox, which ushers in now the light and bright part of the year. And then on the other side, we're going to have the autumn equinox, which ushers in the dark half of the year. And this becomes important because we can relate it then to other concepts like masculine and feminine energy. That's one of the things that I hear about a lot, that people are noticing that their masculine and feminine energies are out of whack. So for us women, females, we're noticing now that we've taken on too much male energy. And I see a lot of videos where women are wanting to re-find their feminine side. And for men, it could be the opposite. They've taken on a lot of traditionally feminine attributes or feminine energy, and maybe they want to find their way back to that. I don't see as much of that just because it doesn't show up in the things that I watch. But I'm assuming that if one side feels an imbalance, the other side has to feel an imbalance, because that's just how the world works. That's how life works. When things that are supposed to be equal or balanced, I'm getting tired of using that word already, but when they are supposed to be one way and they are skewed, it sets off repercussions, right? In everything around us, in the people around us, in the situations around us. So finding our way back to balance is a very good idea. And one of the best ways to do that is to celebrate these times of year. We're going to talk again about springtime right now. Celebrate the springtime, because as we have moved away from our pagan roots, we have moved away from keeping track of the natural rhythms and cycles of the world. And this is part of the problem. When we can't recognize the balance and imbalance in the world around us, then we start to not be able to recognize it in ourselves. And that's when these troubles come up. That's when problems start to arise. So if we have gone away from this recognition of the natural cycles of life, well, what can we do to get back to it? I'm going to give you a few suggestions, but before I do that, because you know I have to add it in, if you have noticed imbalance in your life, if you think this may be due to an imbalance in your ability to enjoy both the mundane and the spiritual side of life equally or in a way that works for you, I highly suggest you take a look at the freebie I have in the description for you. It is the Witch's 4-step guide to building your intuition, so to increasing your intuitive power. And by doing that, by working on your intuition, which is a wonderful thing to work on because you have control over it, it is inside of you, certain other balances you don't have control over necessarily. But because you can control your interaction with your own intuition, this is a very good place to start with finding balance in life. So make sure to go grab that freebie. Okay, spring equinox. Almost all, if not all, I would say pretty much all, cultures around the world celebrate the spring in some way, shape, or form. And this makes sense in my mind because if you think about it, we have spent so long in the dark half of the year now. It's been so gray and dreary and just not fun in most cases, especially where winters are harsh, that this signal, this natural signal that, okay, the sunshine is coming back, this is a wonderful time to celebrate because now we know we got the first inklings of it in February with Imbolc, but now we know for sure things are on the rise. The temperatures are on the rise, crops are going to grow, flowers are going to bloom. We have a lot of bright and beautiful things to look forward to. So if you are of the pagan bent, of the witchy bent, then you're going to want to celebrate Aara. That is the first true blue spring festival where we take a look at the balance of light and dark. We celebrate the fact that the light is returning, right? We celebrate the transition of energies. The dark half of the year is very much feminine energy. It's the nurturing, brooding kind of behind the scenes energy. Now we are moving into the sun, the bright in your face, hey look, things are happening, life is growing energy, and that is typically masculine. So here we have the green god, we have the god of the forest, and all of that comes into play now. So this is a wonderful transition point to celebrate. Because of this great connection to divine energy, masculine, feminine, yin, yang, you know, however you want to describe it, but the opposites being equal and a transition in the focus. This is a wonderful time to take time and reconnect to your spiritual side, your spiritual energies. So because of that, that is also a good incentive for celebrating in some way, something maybe a little leaning more toward the religious if you're okay with that. So Easter is very tied to Aara, has many of the same symbolism, has many of the same symbols. And with good reason, I will probably be talking about the fact that Easter, like Christmas, evolved out of the pagan holidays. But we have our our buddies, the bunnies. They are a symbol of spring. We have eggs, we have flowers, all of these wonderful things. And what they all have in common is that they all represent fertility and growth. So even if you don't want to officially celebrate the spring equinox, you can still contemplate the themes, these themes of growth and fertility. Now, this doesn't have to mean actual, like, have a baby fertility. No, it can also have to do with the fertile creativeness, ideas, getting into, this is the time of year when we like to get into our project mode, spring cleaning, redecorating. With the return of the sunshine, we get much more creative ideas in terms of going outside and maybe painting, photographing, putting together our best work, essentially, because now we're enthusiastic about it. So see how you can kind of hone in on these thoughts and ideas of creativity and of growth, because through these activities, any creative activity, you as a person will grow, and you can improve yourself and your sense of balance through that growth. The trick is recognizing it and actively working with it. Another way of looking at this is that this is a wonderful time of year to really put in some effort with your manifesting. However you choose to view that, whether it is manifesting a la law of attraction, whether it is manifesting through spell work, or whether it is manifesting through setting goals and working toward those goals. Whichever way you look at it, this is a wonderful time of year to think about what your desires are and what you can do to encourage those things coming into being, coming to fruition. If you have any difficulty making these connections, take a look at that guide that I have linked in the description. Maybe also take a look back at some of the journaling videos that I have available, because many of them will focus on the same idea of introspection in order to grow. Don't forget to take time to connect to nature. Now is the perfect time to do it as the days get warmer, and you will notice, I'm sure, as you get out into nature, that the troubles that bother us during our day-to-day activities, during work, when we're at home, when we're just stuck inside, those things start to even out. They don't necessarily go away, but being outside in nature helps to get our creative energies flowing, and we are more likely to come up with solutions or possibilities. I think this is exactly one of the reasons why these equinox celebrations came into being, because people noticed that as they get out more again, as the spring starts to bloom, their own energies kind of reignite and refresh. And with that refresher comes what feels like more opportunity. All right, everyone, that was just a really quick kind of overview video about the equinox and this balancing of energies, and how this is a perfect time of year to get into trying to put things in balance. For additional information, I am also starting to post blogs again, blog posts. So anything that is related to this theme, I will try and remember to put into the description for you. Thank you very much, everyone. I am wishing you a wonderful spring, a happy equinox, and I will be back soon with more information on this topic. I have more to talk about with Easter and spring and all sorts of themes. So until then, everyone, blessed be.